What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition to my DC comic reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman issue number 157. This one is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Jorge Jimenez and Tony S. Daniel. And this is supposedly the final issue of Chip Zdarsky's run on Batman. Yay, I suppose. I have made it kind of clear I haven't really been the biggest fan of this Zdarsky run on Batman. I just don't really have enthusiasm when a new issue comes out really anymore. Even with like Jorge Jimenez on the artwork. You know what? I want Jorge to go back to doing like Superman or something at this point. I love his work on Batman and all that, but like I feel like he suits better for Superman to be honest. But hey, you know what? We're at the end of this thing. Let's just kind of get through this thing, and I guess we're going into Hush 2 next month, which I think is Jim Lee doing the artwork for that one too. But yeah, I don't know about Hush 2 to be honest. So I mean, Hush 1's still pretty good. It's a classic storyline, but I don't think it's like the end-all be-all of like Batman storylines. But yeah, so Hush 2, that's gonna be a strange one to cover. But anyways, we're at the end of the Zdarsky thing. Apologies if I don't really seem as enthusiastic. Like, I'm not like saying this is awful or anything. Like, I'm just like, I have really no feelings at this point when it comes to this run on Batman. I'm just kind of checked out reading it, so I'm just like, yeah, this stuff happens. So yeah, Batman goes after the Russians and all that, Mad Hatter and all that. We know Jim Gordon was kind of manipulated via like Jervis Tetch mind control stuff to kind of sort of maybe kill like Mayor Nakano, and the Riddler is involved with it too. And we have this Commander Star guy who's just a propaganda machine to get people like rowdy, but it's really KG Beast in disguise. Eventually, like I said, Batman does like have to like land this plane in the middle of the city. He blows off the wings and all that. There's some cool looking action bits in this thing. Then he fights the KG Beast, kicks the living crap out of him. Riddler gets kind of taken down. Vandal Savage still kind of remains the police commissioner by the end of this thing. Oh yeah, and there was that whole storyline with Bruce Wayne and his like supposed like long lost brother, because you know apparently Thomas Wayne was getting around because you know he can't just be like you know two people who love Bruce and didn't really like do that sort of things. No, we have to kind of bring the characters down a little bit just for the sake of these random plot threads. But as it turns out, like the DNA, it was all just a ruse, kind of like I expected. Felt really anticlimactic. Like that was a thing that just kind of happened. It's like, oh, you should just give away all your stuff to this guy, Bruce. Why? Like, wait till the DNA evidence comes through. But yeah, this guy's like, I just didn't really want the credit or anything like that. I saw your life, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want that. But yeah, so it wasn't the case. Bruce is kind of back doing his thing. Jim thinks he might just go back and kind of re-enlist in the police force, even though he's like 90 years old at this point. Just kidding. But he is rather old. Like, he really should just kind of retire at this point, unless he's commissioner or something. But Vandal Savage is commissioner. So they kind of talk about how like things just kind of go in an endless cycle. He's like, yeah, I did feel anger in that for Nakano and all that. Things are done with me and his ex-wife and all that. Like, maybe I am really responsible for it, even though I had the mind control glasses on and all that stuff. But yeah, you were still kind of fooling around a little bit, Jim. I don't know if that was the mind control fully or not, but you still were kind of doing something like that. It felt kind of scummy. But hey, the issue just sort of ends right there. Now we've kind of got a little bit of a clean slate for the most part. Some things felt kind of rushed. Like I said, the whole Bruce Wayne like brother plot. Seeing Batman kick the crap out of KG Beast, that's fun. There's some good looking action in this thing. I'll definitely give the issue that. Like, it mostly kind of revolves around that too. And Batman having to kind of land the plane in the middle of the city. It would make a good sequence for a movie. So I'll give it that. Like, I didn't think this was like terrible or anything like that. But yeah, so that's just kind of the issue in a nutshell. Like I said, the brother thing felt a little bit rushed towards the end, but you know what? To be honest, I just thought that was a red herring really from the get-go. It just wasn't going to really go anywhere. So I'm just all set for it just to kind of sort of end. The Zdarsky run, what a run. Like, I feel like, man, we have not really had a great, like, mainline Batman run in quite a while. Like, the Tom King thing was not good, like, at all. Who was it after? Tynion did for a little while. He kind of brought the book back a little bit, although he did have some aspects that didn't quite work for me, but it still was better than Tom King's. Williamson took over for like an arc or two just to kind of like do Shadow War stuff for a minute, so it wasn't really like a full run. And then we went from that into Zdarsky, and I was really looking forward to seeing what he was going to bring to the book, because there was like that one storyline in Urban Legends that I quite liked a bit, but we never really got anything up to that level. I did like the shark repellent bit. I will give that. The one issue where it was like Batman jumping through like multiple arrows of Batman, that was kind of fun. But then we also had things like Gotham War that he was involved with, which was dog shit. And then we had things like the Failsafe and Zuranos stuff, which I was just never a fan of to begin with. I just thought that was a waste of time, and I'm like, why are we doing this? This is not very good. And then, we had, was it Absolute Power and all that stuff too? I don't even know what big events DC has coming up this year, to be honest. I mean, I feel just so checked out when it comes to like a lot of the DC stuff right now. I know Hush 2's coming up, but I feel like distant from it anywhere. Anyone else feel that sort of feeling when it comes to a lot of the DC comic stuff? I want to get back into like that enthusiasm and excitement for it, but I guess it'll kind of change maybe this summer when Superman the movie comes out. Not the Superman movie, I should say, because Superman the movie was the 1978 film's title. But yeah, so now that we are at the end, issue 157, final thoughts. It was just, sort of all right. I don't really have much else to kind of say about it. Some things felt rushed. There's some really good looking artwork in here, so at least visually it looks pretty nice. Some cool action bits, but as it stands, I'm just kind of glad that this run is sort of over with. I kind of lost interest in the plot a while ago, and I'm ready to see what's next for the book. I guess it's Hush 2. I guess I'm gonna have to revisit Hush again, and just see how they're gonna follow up with it, especially considering how continuity is with DC just doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense these days half the time, because then part of New 52 happens, but then it doesn't, but then it has Rebirth, but then it doesn't, but then it has this, but then it doesn't, and I don't exactly know anymore. I feel like ever since like post what was it, Dark Crisis or whatever, was it Dark Crisis or Dark Knight's Death Metal or whatever, DC continuity's just been hard for me to follow certain things anymore. You just kind of have to roll with the punches, I guess. So yeah, but I'm relieved to be kind of done with this thing. Nice looking artwork. The Zdarsky run overall was kind of a disappointment for me. Don't think it's the absolute worst thing I've ever read, obviously. I still think the worst in this Batman book that's been going on since 2016 was under Tom King for the most part. Then I'd say like Zdarsky was like the second worst, weakest aspect of it all. And then I think Tynion probably had the best batch of issues, but even then it wasn't quite amazing. But we need like an amazing mainline Batman book again. I think it's just kind of crazy how it just hasn't really been excellent like it could be. I mean, Absolute Batman's going over really well right now, and I think Batman and Robin under Philip Kennedy Johnson is quite good at the moment too, although I did see some slight spoilers for the next issue, which has me curious to see what he's going to do with that. I don't even know if that book's going to go on for a while, but that one's actually legit really good, and same with Absolute Batman. And Detective kind of has its moments, but there's some weird stuff going on where they're trying to sell it based on Bruce Wayne just hooking up with the daughter of Joe Chill. Okay, strange, whatever, but there's some kind of neat ideas in there, I suppose. But yeah, anyways, I've rambled on long enough. What did you think of Batman issue number 157? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share with friends, with all the YouTube people out there. Sorry I'm a little late on this one. I just didn't really read it today because I just didn't have the urge to read it. So after this, I'm going to talk about last week's issue of Batgirl. Then I will be all caught up for this new week of comic books, and I'm excited to get to this new week of comic books because it's a new week, and it's I got some other stuff coming out on the channel this week as well. Big video coming out Friday night, which I got to try and get that thing edited, but I just haven't had as much time. But I'm looking forward to getting that one out there. So anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.